Okay, we're here with Reverend Arnie Buehler of the Valleyview Alliance Church to get his input on the Health Sciences campus and the role of Johnson City and the university for trying to make this a revitalized area. So let me begin by asking you, how long have you been here in this structure?
Well, our church took over this building. It was a sister church called Johnson City Alliance Church, and we merged in April of 2000. And let's see, what that date would have been 14.
Okay.
And then so we've been running this site as the Bridge Community Center. So we just thought it would be a better fit for the community to help out and serve any way that we can. And as opposed to being a church that was down here, so we've been endeavoring to kind of figure out how we can best serve the people here and create that kind of community center atmosphere. So yeah, we've been doing that for almost 4 years now.
Okay, great. Let's talk about the neighborhood. You've been here long enough. What's your impression of the neighborhood? And by the neighborhood, I mean like between here and Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
Are there problems? If there are problems, what problems have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of family dysfunction. The typical nuclear family just doesn't exist. There's a whole slew of different variables that you can find in the families that we encounter here on a daily basis. There's drug problems, there's generational poverty, just anything that you can typically find in inner city is what you have here in these neighborhoods surrounding our site specifically, and the area that you just mentioned.
Yes. Okay, so that's good. In terms of, you can't miss it, you're next door to the development here, but I don't know if you know or not, in probably 3 years or less, there are going to be somewhere between 900 and 1,000 faculty, students, and staff here daily. And that can lead to positive or negative perceptions depending on where you sit. So I'd like to start out, do you see the positive? What are the positive aspects?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that the Johnson City is being developed. I'd rather look at a building that's being used than a building that's run down right next to us that potentially could have a lot of negative stuff surrounding it, or people sneaking in there and doing whatever. And so it's nice to have a building with a purpose that's next to us, as opposed to just something that's vacant, sitting empty. And so it's created a lot of buzz. People that come down here, they always ask me, well, what's going on next door? What are they doing? I didn't know that they were doing this. So I think in this community, in the greater Binghamton area, Johnson City always seems to have a bad rap of, it's just worthless, there's no hope there. And so it's good to finally see, people develop Johnson City again, after essentially EJ left, it was, everything else left with it. And so it's nice to, see that again and bring maybe some hope and excitement back to, the neighborhood here. Good.
How about negative? Do you see any negative impacts of having the campus here with 1,000 people a day?
Well, I don't know exactly what that would look like, or what the negatives would be until maybe we encounter it. Other than maybe more traffic, I guess. But it could potentially. I would hate to see some of the families that we work with,
mm-hmm.
Who are maybe in poverty or struggle to live day to day or paycheck to paycheck, be kind of pushed out,
mm-hmm.
and have to go somewhere else because of whether landlords raise the prices of renting properties around the area now because they want more BU students or professors, whoever else, to move in to be closer.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, not that would be a negative for us because that's the people that we deal with.
Sure.
And so it would be different it's hard for what we do to maybe run a community center for people that are well off.
Of course.
You know, because they don't have needs per se. Well, I mean they do, but not the same needs. And so we would have to totally restructure, you know, kind of who we are, or maybe, you know, we sell the property and I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's something that we've thought about kind of as an organization. You know, what will those changes be, and you know, will we lose a lot of families that we've built great relationships with? You know, will they be pushed out into worse conditions, possibly in Binghamton or Endicott, or you know, you know, there are a lot of unknowns, I guess.
Sure.
On the negative side, I don't know.
Good.
And maybe it's something that we don't have to worry about it, but.
But you're raising issues
Yeah,
that are typically raised, so that's fine. Let me switch a little bit. As we interviewed people on, especially small businesses on Main Street, and to get a handle on what do you think the problems are in Johnson City that need to be corrected? What role is there for the government, the local government, and leadership? So what kind of problems do you see that would be, I'll put it this way, would result in a better downtown and a better area? And that's not just for business, that's just, you know, for everybody who lives here as well as the businesses. What could they do? If you're talking about seeing problems, for example, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, from what I've encountered, it's very little. I don't really get into the whole political scheme of things, but I think the people here now have a lot of opinions about certain things, and they don't feel heard. You know, I had a lady come up to me the other day because she, I don't know, thinks that I have some kind of greater power than I actually do. But she's like, "Can you talk to someone about getting some benches over here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get on that. You know, like I'll make that happen for you." So like they feel like you know, they're not really respected or heard on what they think. They have a lot of ideals about how New York City, you know, the boroughs there function, you know, for their type of demographic, and that doesn't really translate here. And so they kind of feel tossed to the side or left out. And so from the politicians maybe that I've encountered, you know, I've always tried to like, hey, how can we serve you? You know, what can we do for Johnson City? And it's like it's almost as if it's difficult for them to talk to me or like decide what we can do. You know, there seems to be a lot of disagreement there of how to best move forward with Johnson City instead of I don't know, how would you kind of phrase it? They're making more hurdles to jump through than necessary, in my opinion, instead of just collectively coming together to kind of find a common goal or purpose for the neighborhood, the city, and move forward. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does. No, it's fine.
That's what it just seems like, you know, that you know, we've had some of actually the mayor's been here to speak with some of the people, other you know, trustees and things, and you know, it seems like they hear what the people say, but then there's no really action follow through. You know what I mean? It's just yeah, we hear you, but you know, or there's no like action steps to kind of move forward.
Okay.
And it, you know, the community's not the easiest to work with either. I understand, so it goes both ways.
Sure.
I don't know if that answered your question.
You did.
Okay.
My last question is, we're asking all the people we talk to, residents and businesses, whether or not they feel any kind of attachment to Johnson City as a place. And what we say is, if you're extremely attached, it's a 10. If you have no attachment, it's down at 1. Where would you put yourself in that?
I love Johnson City. Like I said, I want to see Johnson City thrive and see it transformed. And you know, earlier in the previous question, I said it seems like Johnson City is constantly overlooked. You know, grant money goes elsewhere.
Yes.
You know, to Binghamton or Endicott and other areas, and Johnson City just doesn't get any of that stuff. And so, by us creating this community center of essentially becoming the Boys and Girls Club of Johnson City, It's been a great service and need for the people here. There's nothing for kids to do.
Is that how you, the name of this actual building that we're in, is this considered a community center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We're still backed by our church, and we still present the gospel and things to people, mm-hmm. and try to see them transformed, through our beliefs and all that stuff. And but we have an excellent relationship with the school district. They value what we do. With so many of we have 60 kids here every day for after school, and we help them with their homework and tutoring and mentoring and give them a safe place to be off the street. And so I would hate to see the community lose that potentially. If families have to move out or
sure.
or whatever, and so. Yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
That's all right. I need you to give me a number between 1, which is the lowest.
Oh,
and 10,
yeah. That's what that's. So yeah, no, I like I said, I love John. 9, 10. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else because I see that there's so much hope here, or could be so much hope and promise that the community doesn't really realize who they are and what they can be, and I want to help take the community to the next level.
That's nice.
Any way that I can. And so I think we can be a real transferring piece of the whole greater Binghamton area, if everyone can work together and be on the same page of moving forward.